This is an interview of Don Bruce talking about his father's service in Korea. This is, the course title is World History 375. I'm taking it during fall 2017, the D subterm. My instructor is Professor Ritchie, and my name is Catherine Bruce. Tell me your name.
I'm Don Bruce.
And who are we going to be talking about today?
We're talking about my dad, Buddy E. Bruce.
And he served in which conflict?
The Korean conflict.
How did he get to Korea? Was he drafted or did he volunteer?
He was drafted. He got deferred first time because he was the oldest of his family. His dad had passed away during World War II. And so he was the oldest. And so he got a deferment for 1 year until his next brother could come in. He had to quit school when he was in 8th grade, 9th grade, somewhere around in there to take care of the family. So he went to work in the cotton fields. He lived up in North Georgia mountains.
So once he was drafted, where did he go to receive his training?
He went to Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
And what did he learn? What division was he in?
He was with the 24th Infantry Division, and he was an infantry. It was infantry. That was his MOS, his military occupation specialist. Specialty was infantry.
Did he ever talk about his understanding of his mission in Korea?
Never did. He never said much about Korea. We know that he said he went. He got upset when I joined the Army because he was drafted, and I volunteered my senior year in high school in '79, and he got upset when I volunteered to go into the Army.
Was there a difference made between draftees and volunteers when he was in the Army?
In his time, they were. Draftees wouldn't treat us, I don't think, my understanding, as well as the volunteers. You know, the promotions wasn't as quick and so forth.
Oh. So after he finished his training in Fort Jackson, how did he get to Korea?
I'm not sure what route he took in the United States. He has a very detailed log of the mileage that he went from Jacksonville all the way across the United States to Seattle, Washington, where he left out at.
So I guess he took a troop transport ship?
He did. That's where his deportation was at. It was in Seattle.
So once he landed in Korea, where was he assigned?
He was assigned to Seoul, and I'm not exactly sure of what area where he was at.
And what did he do there?
He was infantry. He did patrols, whatever they told him to do, from peel potatoes to what. He made corporal while he was there. So I know that he got out as an E4 corporal.
Okay. Did he ever talk about interacting with the locals?
He did. Well, so a little bit. Go back to when he was in Seattle. He talked about there, even back in the early 50s, when he was there, that they had signs on their grass saying dogs allowed, GIs stay off.
Oh.
So there's a lot of places the GIs wasn't allowed to be at, but they allowed their dogs to go there. So that made a big heavy. He did tell me about that several times over the years.
And did he interact with any of the locals when he was in Korea?
He did. He had a special friend there. I don't know how to say it, but I don't know if this is proper or not, but he had a mama son there. Mm-hmm. And he had pictures of her. And he never did talk about her, not at all. But my aunt was telling me, many years ago about her, and that that he was wanting to bring her home. And I don't know what happened when he didn't, but he was head over heels. He was an old country boy from North Georgia mountains and got out,
Had he ever really been anywhere before traveling to Korea? Did he just go from the mountains to?
Pretty much went to the mountains. He probably hadn't traveled more than, give a guess, 60 miles out from his home.
Did he say anything about the weather there, or
He was talking about how cold it was, and that he'd have to take baths, and everything was a steel pot. You have your helmet liner and your steel pot, and so he talked about he did everything from heat to bathe out of that steel pot.
Oh wow!
He'd boil water to eat with. He would boil water to eat out of, and so his steel pot was everything to him.
Do you know if he lost any friends in combat?
No, I can't tell you.
How did his service in Korea affect his attitudes afterwards?
Well, Daddy did what he had to do, but he was not a big pro-military person. He did it because he was drafted and his country told him to do it, and he did it. Now, he believed in doing your job, and that's what he did. But he did not want me to go in at all. He thought he did his time, and I shouldn't have to go in.
Did he ever have any sort of psychological issues or depression or any of that when he got home?
I don't know if he had any of that, but I do know that he, his younger brother, his older brother went to Korea. He was in World War II. His younger brother is below him. He went to Korea, and also after my dad came back. And so, but I just remember as a kid, he would be screaming at night. I don't know if anything to do with it. He'd have nightmares every so often. And I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not.
Okay. So was he like so many of his generation? They just didn't talk about things like that.
He just didn't talk about it.
But he saved everything.
He saved everything. He had mileage down. He's got books that, he was a very keeper. He's a very A-type personality. And he was very organized, and he kept everything. He only when he went to before he went, he had a job out of school, and like I said earlier, in 8th or 9th grade. But he was one of the most intelligent men I've ever met. And I wish I had half his smarts. I have a master's. So and he when he came back from school, I remember as a kid, him going to night school to get his GED. So he got his high school,
And did the Army help him with that?
Yes, he got that under the GI Bill.
Okay. Did he say anything? Do you know anything about his return? Like taking the transport ship back or?
No, I just know that he kept all that, all that's in the book of his mileage and stuff. And he would tell, he did tell some stories on the transports to and from, talking about, especially going over there, meeting people for the first time, different from New York City and all this other stuff. And, he wasn't used to that. And the different races that he met, different cultures. And so it was different for him.
Do you think he would have done anything differently in terms of what he did in Korea? Do you think he would have, if he had it to do over again?
I don't know. I don't think if he had a choice, he wouldn't have went. But he got drafted, and and I mentioned earlier he dropped out of school to work in the cotton fields, and so we also did, he worked in the mines. He was a water boy at a young age. At 12 and 13 years old, he traveled into the mines. We had marble mines back in North Georgia, like where a lot of your Washington monuments and Lincoln Memorial and stuff. All that marble came from North Georgia mountains, and my dad worked there for 43 years, not counting when he was a kid, and he retired from there. Before he came, he was working there before he went to Korea, and he worked there and he started working there when he came back.
And when he came back from Korea, did they give him the same job or did they give him a promotion?
Got the same job, and he got promoted. That's why he went back, and they told him that he made a supervisor, a foreman. And they said for him to go any farther, he needed a high school education. So he did that, and he became what they called their division, a division manager there. So he was over the whole division there.
Do you think he would say that his experience in the Army was overall, I know he didn't like being there because he was drafted, but would it be a positive experience? Do you think it had a positive impact on him?
I think it did, but get him to admit it. I don't think he'd ever admit it, but I think he did. I think it was positive for him. Okay. But then again, I'm pro-military, so I'm a little bit different too. So.
And when you went into the military, he was adamantly opposed.
Oh, yeah.
So your daddy was a prolific saver of things.
Yes.
So we have lots of different things that we've taken pictures of, and then I'm going to include in this presentation.
I guess that's a polite way of saying he was a hoarder.
He was a hoarder.
He was a hoarder, but he was a very organized hoarder.
He was. So the card that you hold in your hand, tell us about that.
This is his U.S. Forces identification card. So I'm assuming this is what they had to have when he was out on leave and so forth.
Okay.
This has his service number on it, and and his rank and his unit. Yes, here's his unit it was a Company L, 19th Infantry Regiment, 24th Division. And on the back, it's got his birth date on it.
Did your father's experience in Korea have any impact on you going into the military?
I think it did. I think because my granddaddy went in and my uncles all went in. So I think that's something I decided at the early age I was going to do is go in the Army. So that's what I did.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.